No fun anymore. Serious business now.
Yep. So Vandana, do you want to share? I can share.
You can share, yes.
Okay. So Vandana, take it away. Attendance.
Thank you so much, Andrew. Hi, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Let's start with our June's board meeting. But before that, let's go ahead and take a roll call first. So I'll go by the name that I see on my screen. Grant.
Aye, present.
Martin.
Present.
Glenn.
Yep.
Bill.
I'm here.
Avi.
Present.
Jobin is going to join soon. About me, yes, present. So let's start with the agenda, and before that, we'll take approval for or a motion for the previous board meeting. I hope you've got the chance to read all of them. We'll start with Grant.
Second.
Oh, sorry, I sponsored it. Second.
Second.
Who's second? Thanks, thanks, Martin. Sorry, my bad. I'll start off with the anyone has any questions before we get into that? Any questions for previous board meeting minutes?
I just want to make a quick statement. I've actually updated the all of the meetings for this year to have a recording. And so they did change dates on the disc, but they still say the days here and everything. I've also made sure that the financial packages and all the links inside them is working. So as an organisational regular, these are now up to date from January through May.
Sure.
Perfect.
Thank you. If we don't see any issues, we'll start off with the votes. I'll start off with Martin.
Yes.
Glenn.
Yep.
Bill.
Yes.
Avi.
Yes.
Let me see, where is Grant? I think we lost Grant. It's a yes from my side, probably for Grant, and we do have approval for that.
Here's Grant, I think.
He's here. Grant, we're just approving the previous board meeting minutes. So taking that.
Yeah, I'm happy to approve them as well.
Yeah, thank you so much. So we have a 6 yes and 1 not available.
Right.
And let's get into the business, please.
Okay, cool. I'll take it away with the board summary.
Sure.
And it's over here. Okay, the bylaws remain the highest priority. We have received legal advice the other day. I've shared that with the board. There is an item on that, so I'll leave it the details to there. Your membership is now officially behind schedule. I was hoping it was going to be in place by the end of June. That's not likely. So we had a reset meeting with your membership last week. We do need, they've given us a Trello of all the action items that we need to do. And so I'll be pushing for all of those things to be happening. Well, as many of them to happen while I'm away on annual leave. But I'll come back and make sure that I push for those so we can get going with your membership in August or no later than August. I've been working on and off on the 2020 and 2021 annual reports. I really need Sharif to give me a statement, and Tom, I need a 2021 final numbers when you're ready, and some sort of narrative as well.
Sharif is on
I
the
made the final changes to it the other day, Andrew, based on that one last small little change. So
yeah,
it should be ready for you when you get back from holiday.
Fantastic. Love it. So we need these annual reports for GuideStar and other charity, automated charity things like, for example, YouTube and Amazon Smile. They are looking for this information. And so we need to make it as easily available to donors as possible. And the fact that we haven't had annual reports in the past, I think it's too late to go back to 2019 or 2018 where we missed them. But if the board wants me to, I can certainly dredge up the information for those years and publish them. But I think maybe the last 3 years, which means 2019, 2020, 2021, probably the way to go here and not worry about 2018.
Sure,
And
Andrew.
all the numbers are in the 990, so the numbers are easy to get to.
Okay. 2019 was an audit year, wasn't it?
Correct, and we have the audit package that I believe is posted somewhere. If not,
It is. No, it's definitely posted.
Yep.
Okay. I'll put down that I'm going to have a go at the 2019 one after I've done the others.
you know if I can help.
Yeah, you will be able to.
Okay, no worries.
The 2019 chair I'll have to look up. Offhand, does anyone on the board know who the 2019 chair was? I must admit,
Wasn't that on?
2019
It
wasn't
was
that
That Michael Coates?
no.
no
2019.
I think it was Martin.
Oh,
I think it was.
it was mine.
Martin or Owen.
Owen was 2020.
2020.
then it's
Yes,
Martin.
then it's
I was-
Martin.
I was 18 and 19, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Martin, I'll get a statement from you about the 2019. So get that memory, get the diary out, have a look and say, oh yeah, it was a fantastic year, blah, blah, blah. Okay, anyway. We are refactoring the grants process. I made contact. I did some Skillshare training on grants and grant making. And the lady who does that actually has a consultancy. I'm trying to find out from her how much it will roughly cost for us to get professional advice on how to do grants in a much more professional manner. If it's reasonable, I will discuss it with Glenn before bringing it and getting it done, especially if it's just underneath my... I think it'll be a good investment, basically, is what I'm trying to say. Because if we get grants worth, $1 million or 2 million, it'll pay for itself time and time again. So I just want to make sure it's worthwhile. The training that the lady did was excellent, and I can highly recommend it. If anyone is interested in learning more about grants, grant making, grant writing, I can give you the details of the training. The SBOM meeting last week was a success, and I've transitioned that work to Harold, so I won't be travelling anymore for SBOM. My goal is that we have dealt ourselves back in to the actual conversation, and Steve and Jeffrey did a really good job there. There is some work to be done, and Jubin's here, excellent. There is some work to be done. We're going to do a joint statement with the SPDX team, so that'll go onto our website probably late this week or early next. We are working on a Purple Team member benefit, and as part of that, sorry, Vandana, please.
I wanted to ask a question about the grant process. Now, when we are refactoring, there are a lot of grants which are supposed to come to us. I remember there's one by Christian Colony. I think that's a Google grant, if I'm not mistaken. And there's another one which is by Accenture. So are we considering them by any chance, or where are we with them?
Okay, so the Google grant for Josh is progressing. I've signed it. It's just a matter of doing whatever is necessary. The one for Christian Fellini, let me chase that one up for you. Unless, Harold, do you know where that's up to? Is Harold on the call?
Yeah,
He's on the call. He's
there's two grants. The Accenture grant, of course, we've dropped for now until Accenture determines what they wish to do. The Google grant is awaiting some items from accounting, I guess. That's where I last left it, I don't.
Okay,
Those
so
are Those are the two that I am.
So the Google, you talking about Google Summer Code, Harold, or that one that you were asking me about a week or so ago?
That one, the one
Okay.
with the,
Well,
where we have to log
I'm in the
into
office today, so and I know Tara's here too, so I will go have a chat with her after this meeting.
Awesome.
I think Avi has a question.
yes, sorry.
Avi has raised.
Yeah, I just want to update about the Google grant. It's some of it is waiting for lawyers, I happen to know, and some of it is kind of Google are backtracking because they might be wanting to expand that. I don't want to get into too much details now. You're probably more aware of this than I am, but that's
Yeah.
kind of where it's at now.
Yeah, there's an entire email trail between our lawyer, Google, and Josh at the moment. I will follow that up and I will send that to the internal board list. If you're interested in that sort of oversight, I think it's only $10,000. It depends whether or not you want to have the oversight. Martin?
I thought we agreed to that we had, as board, we know what requests going on.
Okay, I'll send the details.
It should be somewhere on the website, right? We have openness is mandatory.
Mm-hmm. We have an agreement with Google that we don't mention things with them until without them having it in writing.
As I said before, this is really on OWASP, right? When you, Google demands us to give up our openness, we are unopen. It's always been our high value to be open. And they don't want to be open, that kind of smelly, like, then I need a good reason, but at least the board must know it. I really have problems when they say, yes, you get a grant, but we cannot be open about it. I really don't like that.
Noted.
There's also a third one. Sorry, I'll let you finish the story around Google though, Andrew.
I will get that to the internal board as soon as I can. I'll look at my emails after this.
Sure. Grant, you were saying something?
Yeah, there is also a third grant that's for CRS.
Yeah, it's the Christian Fellini one.
Okay.
That was the one that Harold was talking about, I'm pretty sure.
Is that
then
the
also
bug
a fourth
bounty
one.
one that Vandana was sending last week?
Right,
Yes.
that's right.
Yes.
And
Okay.
that's what I started off with.
Okay, so Bandana grant. I will chase that up with my emails and get a status update for you. Okay, Purple Team. Kim Carter has agreed to transfer Purple Team as a going concern to OWASP. So a lot of the issues that we've had in the past with Purple Team being both a commercial commercial offering and a project, that was also always problematic. Now it's coming to us. We do need to actually fire up a instance, and we're going to be making that as a donation, more or less donation as a service, or service as a donation, or whatever. Essentially, the idea is that members will be able to access this for free, and on a commercial basis, or rather a non-commercial basis, folks can actually use it for a suggested donation. We're still working on that. We've got to stand the service up first. Harold's working on that now. Okay.
I think Avi wanted to ask something.
Oh, is it?
Andrew, so I understand that we're going to be continuing to operate this effectively commercial service, or not commercial,
Yes.
or pay?
It's not really commercial. I mean, I don't know what the monthly fees are, but we'll be transitioning them to a donation model rather than you must pay us X number of dollars. It's problematic charging it for a service.
Yeah, I mean, why do we want to be operating this as a service and not just have it as a code project?
Because we get the commercial version and we've got the code to it now. So all of the assets, all of the configuration, you can stand up your own version of it now. So our members and everybody has way more than we used to have. in return, we have this service. Now, if we've got the ability, if all of the people who are using it at the moment drop off, we can terminate the service. It's not the end of the world. We're not running it forever.
Okay, there's no like contract that we're committed to operating it indefinitely.
No, I made sure of that. Like, it doesn't cost a lot to run. It's about $15 a month at the moment, but it has significant staff time to spin up. Harold's got that on his plate for the next couple of weeks. So once it's stood up, it should be okay. But the fact is, we've managed to get the commercial version of Purple Team coming in-house. That makes it open to everybody, and it's going to be dual licensed. So I think it's a win-win, but we'll see if people are interested in the donation aspect of it from a commercial perspective. It's a pretty good platform.
Cool, thanks.
Yep.
Andrew, one more question for you. No, you mentioned about SBOM meeting, which was a success. So I wanted to understand how exactly it went. What are the things that were important from our side as an OWASP? Because we're actually pushing Cyclone DX big time, and SBOM is something which is of very or utmost important for a lot of organizations, and even the country itself.
Absolutely.
So how exactly we are progressing with that?
Okay, so in the meeting that I went to in May, more or less Cyclone DX had been dealt out of the equation. Mark Curfey and John Viego had come up with an alternative format or an idea based off SPDX, and we were basically being written out of the story. So I felt that that meeting was a turning point. We either needed to deal ourselves back in, or we had to give up. And I felt we've got the primary SBOM standard out there that most tools consume and use. SPDX has got some use cases which are fantastic, particularly around the like the mergers and acquisitions, license management, and other things that Cyclone DX doesn't do. So each of them has their own benefits and their own strengths. The reality is that we needed to get back in the game. This meeting was our chance. So I got the right people in the room. I got the Cyclone DX team in the form of Steve and Jeffrey. Patrick couldn't make it from Australia, but traveling from Australia for a 4-hour meeting didn't make a lot of sense anyway, so I'm sort of glad that he couldn't. But the SPDX team was there as well. And together with Alan Friedman from the government, he was moderating the actual session. It was really good. It was well worth it. There were a lot of positives coming out of it. Probably for the next year or two, there will be 2 still divergent standards, but Cyclone DX is back in the game, which is my main goal. The secondary goal for me was to hand it off to Harold to make sure that we have continued focus on this, because you're absolutely right. SBOMs are part of the executive order, and OWASP should be at the table. And if there's any government grants around SBOMs that the Cyclone DX team can actually go for, I'd like them to be able to do it. So it was really good to make sure that we had quality time with the US government, quality time with the SPDX team, and it happened. So I think it was really good. I mean, Harold, is that what you thought as well, or what would you characterize the meeting as?
Yeah, I think it was a really good coming together of SPDX and Cyclone DX, whereas before they were a little bit butting heads a bit.
Yep. So that joint statement that we're doing with the SPDX team will give, I think, industry a lot of confidence going forward, that we're working on this executive order and we're going to solve some of the problems the executive order needs us to solve.
Sure. Probably, I think these things, we should share it with the community as well, because we want these to be driven within the community as well.
Yep.
Sure. Let's move ahead. Anyone has any question before we move to the next slide?
Okay. Operations. Dawn put this together. We've got the nominees for the WASP Awards and they've been notified. The WASP Awards election will start by the end of the month. There is more co-marketing agreements coming up. these are essentially cross-promotional deals. These are not anything as extravagant or as in-depth as the ones we've been doing over the last year. I think we need to pause on those until we've got a better handle on corporate benefits, I think. We really want to make sure that corporate supporters have access, first bite at these member benefits. Black Hat USA planning continues, and I'll be there, and Harold will be there for the last day and then move on to DEF CON. So we will be basically making sure that we've got the table staffed, but if we're going to get some volunteers from the local community as well, I'm sure that this is being organised. We'll make sure that happens.
Just, Andrew.
Mm.
Okay, I do have some tickets left. I do have some people locally who are interested. So for Black Hat, DEF CON, there's only 2 extra tickets, and they're kind of, that's already been passed out, I believe, or they're lining that up. The other thing, so you know, WASP Awards will go out by the end of the week. We did set it up that it will be a WASP, which technically is, what is it, Web Application Security Person of the Year. So there'll be one for chapters, one for projects, and one for events. So that election will go out by the end of the week. And then nominees for board elections will start August 15th. There'll be 3 seats available. So if anyone needs to renew their membership or everything like that, just now is the time to do it.
Yep.
So you can vote on everything. Thank you.
Okay, Tom.
Hi, everybody. So I'm going to take the screen if I can.
Yep.
Hopefully you all had a chance to pre-read. There we go. Let's see. So can everybody see my screen? So we had another very good month, and we're doing very well year to date through May. As you can see, our cash balance at the end of May was about $1,630,000 compared to under $1 million last year. So we're doing well. Our receivables are up a little bit, but it's not due to their aging. It's due to we've got a few things going on, so that's good. As far as our prepaids go, you know, we have a couple of things that are outstanding for events that haven't happened yet. So our total assets at the end of May were $1,970,000, or a little over $700,000 more than last year, which again is a good thing. In liabilities, we had some outstanding payables, but we had some things that happened in April and May that needed to get paid. I brought this up again. As you can see, our PPP loan is 0 because we were forgiven. I'll take the opportunity right now to mention that I worked with a company called Experian. They're the credit bureau. I hope most of you are familiar. They offer a service because there is still one last subsidy from the federal government that we might have an opportunity to apply for. It's called the Employee Retention Credit. So it's a credit that the government gives, a refund for payroll taxes for keeping your employees employed, which we did all throughout COVID. So Andrew has the agreement, so does Glenn, to take a look at it. The ballpark conservative amount that we could get in a refund is anywhere from $84,000 to $110,000, based on the amount of employees we have, for a 10% fee. So they do all the work. They file for the refund. I have it in writing that they have yet to see a refund not be accepted. So, you know, let's say we get 84, and they take 10%. That's over $70,000 that we've done absolutely nothing to gain. So hopefully we'll move that along. Vandana, you have a question?
Yeah, actually, I'm looking at all the liabilities, all of the things around. I can see AppSec US. I can see Portland Training. I can see AppSec U. So I am looking for AppSec Asia Pacific. I think that's not part of the list.
Right here.
This is the, okay.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I apologize. So you're looking for Asia Pacific?
Global AppSec Asia Pacific. Yes, that's right.
I don't know if is registration open?
I think it is. Andrew, I think it is, right? Because it's happening in August.
Yeah.
Well, the question is, was it open in May and did we take in any money? Because it would be listed here if we did.
No, it wasn't open in May, I don't believe.
Okay.
Lauren, is that the case? When is the registrations and training open?
Registrations for APAC are currently open, the early bird registration. And then the training, we're going through the review process right now, so we should have those up soon.
Okay.
Lauren, when did we open the registration, early bird?
We opened early bird registration about a month ago.
Okay. I will go back and take a look, but there was nothing that was posted, so maybe we opened it and it missed the cutoff for the end. But I will take a look at that, Madonna, and let you know.
Okay.
Sure.
Okay. So in terms of expenses for the Asia Pacific, it's 21,500, I think.
Yep. It's the platform. It was the same platform I believe we used for the AppSec Europe.
Yes.
Okay. So other than that, you can see that at the time we had 219,000 for EU, which happened in June. We had 21,000 for the platform that we paid for in advance. So our current liabilities are about 800. What's really driving this is we have quite a bit of paid for deferred revenue at this point to recognize, which is a good thing based on how we're doing it. You can see that we have total equity of about 1.1 million, and our net accrued loss compared to May of last year, we're about $29,000 better in net income than we were last year at this time. When we get to the P&L, I'll match that against the budget. So does anybody have any questions on the balance sheet? Vandana, is your hand still up or?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Actually, I raised again. So
Okay.
if you go up a little bit, you've mentioned about the corporate membership.
Yes.
So how are we or measuring or keeping the membership, which are individual memberships?
Sorry,
Actually, it's a question for Andrew as well, wherein are we seeing more registrations for memberships, which are individual memberships, not just the corporate memberships?
Individual memberships are at an all-time high of 5,970, I think. We're very, very close to 6,000.
So do you think we should showcase the revenue here as well?
It should be there, yes. Because it's substantial now. It's not just a little bit of money, it's a substantial amount of money.
Right. So Tom, can you please add that here?
Yes, but I think there's a little confusion. So you wouldn't see it here. The individual memberships found it up because they're $50 and they're basically a donation. They get recognized when we receive them.
Right.
So we don't defer them and recognize over the term. The reason we do the corporates is because they're substantial and they receive benefits. So that's why you're not seeing it here, but you will see it in the P&L. And at this point, corporate memberships are above budget. Individual memberships, I assume based on timing, are a little under because I have to spread it over the year. So it's in the narrative, but I'll highlight it when we get there.
Sure, thank you.
Oh, no problem. No problem. Okay, well, I will move on to the board summary quickly. So as you can see, we were a little short in revenue this month. The reason is we had budgeted for a $100,000 grant that hasn't materialized, but we also budgeted $90,000 worth of expenses that didn't materialize. So the net income effect was only $10,000. But other than that, as you can see, corporate individual memberships is way above what we had budgeted for the month and is way above what we budgeted year to date. So events and corporate memberships are carrying for the other revenue lines that are a little bit off at this point.
Tom, is that membership and individual membership and corporate?
Yes, it is individual and corporate. And in the narrative, I broke them out. In project and technology, this is where I was saying that there was $90,000 budgeted for expense for that particular grant that didn't happen. So that's what's driving that big increase. The rest of it is more or less aligned. The G&A is over a little bit because of legal fees, but we know that. So our loss for the month was just under $18,000. Our budgeted loss was just under 48. So we were $30,000 better in net income than we thought. Correlating that to year to date, we're about $36,000 better in income than our budget, but we're $138,000 better in expenses. Again, the two things that are driving it there are the $100,000 that didn't happen in revenue and the $90,000 of expenses that didn't happen. But what it's done is given us a cushion of net income. We're $174,000 above our budget in net income. What that means is that, I'm not saying we will, but if we were to lose $173,000 for the next 7 months, we would be right at our budget at year end. So this tells me 5 months through that we're on the right track. Kelly and I talked about AppSec EU. It's probably going to be right on its numbers, maybe, a little under, but nothing dramatic. I looked at Benelux. Benelux had about an $11,000 net income, revenue over expenses. So again, things are moving in the right direction. With that, I'll stop and take any questions before I pull up the narrative quickly. Okay, not hearing any. In the narrative, so to answer your question, Lisa, individual memberships are at 173, was 7,300 under our budget of 125. Now that could be timing, I'm not sure. Corporate memberships are at 217 recognized. It was 113,000 ahead of the budget that we had based on last year of 104. So I tried to get at least a little granular in the narrative for you all. If you have any questions, by all means, please let me know. But again, I point us down here that our cash balance is up. Our operational reserve is 11.5 months. Our total reserve is 8, both of which are above the industry average of 6 months. So
I think, Tom, when we come to do the changes with the bylaws, if we're going to recognise corporate members as corporate support, we definitely need to break out that individual membership because it is a substantial sum of money, and we have much smaller sums of money being broken out by themselves. It's nearly $250,000 per year that we've got for individual membership.
So it is broken out, Andrew. When you look at in QuickBooks, it is broken out.
Okay, cool.
If you want, I can adjust the board summary and have 2 lines for membership, saying corporate and individual. If that helps everybody, I'm happy to do it.
Yeah, I think it would be very helpful because the corporate stuff, especially with the deferreds, is a little bit confusing without that narrative. And I'd like to be able to say individual membership is, this is now a substantial sum of money as well.
Sure. And as you can see, last year we were at 122.5. This time we're at 118. So, like I said, it could be timing. And the budget for the year for individual membership, to your point, Andrew, is 300.
Yeah. So, the reason why it's down is that we had a really good 2-year membership drive in March last year. And those people don't come up for renewal until next year. So I think without another membership drive, we're not going to see that improve until we get something happening.
Well, like I said, 5 months through the year, we're only off $7,000. So
Yeah.
If you doubled that for the rest of the year following that timing, corporate membership is more than covering it from a timing perspective.
Cool.
Okay. As always, if anybody needs anything, you guys know where I am.
Cool. So just highlighting, I do provide these figures in a graphical form in the actual board summary, so that you can see the details. Let me just put that onto screen share. So just in case you're more of a visual person like I am, you can actually see what we've got budgeted versus actuals for net income, current assets versus AR. So you can sort of see if this starts to get really big, like if it's like half of this stuff, we've got problems. So like November, there was a significant amount of AR, but then it went down. And it's, we do keep on top of the AR. Here's the operating reserves. I've used it with our run rate. The actual number you should observe and understand, like that 11-month figure, is from Tom. This is just a calculation. Like how much do we have on hand versus how fast do we burn through cash. Tom's is more accurate, and I'd rather have the knowledge that it's 11 months, not 15, so that we can plan correctly. So there you go.
So I can shed a little light on that. What I do when I do my calculation is I pull certain things out of like liabilities, accounts payable, because theoretically that cash is going to go.
Mm-hmm.
So it's basically taking the cash less that, and you'll in the narrative you'll see how I come up with it. I always put that in there so you all know where the numbers are coming from.
Mm-hmm.
So mine's a little more conservative view.
Yeah. And so this is that slowdown that I was telling you about. You can sort of see the slope of the trend line has slowed down, whereas last year, if we went back as far as March, you would have seen a very steep increase in numbers through March. We ran a membership drive in this July-August timeframe for lifetime members for the 20th anniversary. We have yet to do a membership drive this year, so it's definitely a tapering, but it's going up, which is very pleasing. This morning, it is 5941, so another 10 members since I last did this on Friday. So it's increasing, which is a good and healthy thing for us.
Andrew, would it make sense to do a drive leading up to 6,000 and like celebrate member not 6,000, give out a prize to who's ever the 6,000th, something like that?
Yeah, we could do that. We're also trying to tie in a membership drive with the AppSec USA, so people can actually obtain the AppSec USA with the membership discount.
Andrew, I thought we were going to wait till after the summer because of holiday.
Yeah, AppSec USA is November.
Yeah. No, I know, but I don't know. I'm just saying with the 6,000.
At this current rate, we might hit 6,000 by the time I come back from annual leave. So let's have a chat about it later, but yeah. Certainly we can create some buzz. Maybe we don't even have to offer a discount. We just offer a prize.
Yeah, more like a PR blitz type of thing.
Yeah, we could probably do that. In fact, I'll say we will do that. It's only 50 people. Okay, cool. And with that, I'm going to return it to Vandana.
Sure. Andrew, can you please share your screen?
Yep.
So before I get into it, I can see a few members joining us, and I should thank them for joining. Apart from the staff, I can see Jubin has joined us. I can see Tom Brennan is with us. Sam Stephen is with us. So thank you so much for joining us today.
Okay, thank you. So the first piece of business is actually just simply to accept into the minutes that there was an e-vote and it passed, and that was for the approval of the April 22 minutes were approved, and that passed 5 with 2 abstentions.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're up to new business. Do you want to take this, or do you want me to take it?
No, I'll go ahead and take it, and then probably you chime in because
Okay.
it's around bylaws. So, so everyone, we've been reviewing the bylaws for the past few months, and or over the last month, we've met a couple of times. And right now, if you have any questions regarding the bylaws, please let us know. Andrew is here. We have all been discussing about certain changes which are needed in the bylaws.
Yes. So with the bylaws, what we do need to do, there is some residual settings that, like for example, I took the initiative to get rid of proxies because we shouldn't have them, but I also made the executive decision that members weren't going to have proxies. So I think maybe we're going to be prematurely voting on sending this to legal review. I'm carefully reading every single page to make sure that one of the things that the template gave us is that they let members directly nominate and directly elect from the floor, which is not the way that we do it. So that's actually mentioned about half a dozen times. I need to go through and carefully read each individual page to get rid of that. But also, for example, this nomination and election procedures, so for example, we need words from our lawyers to say that the election policy is the guiding principle of this, because we've had that documented for a long time. So there's a little bit more to be done, I think, in this. I think voting on it to send it to the legal review today would probably be a mistake.
I think Tom has posted a question in the chat box. So the question is, OWASP posted and promoted 3 events for today, June 28th, about bylaws. However, there was no online meeting link to be part of the event in the meetup.com. Did we member miss something?
Okay, I will check what happened with the second meeting. It was rescheduled a bunch of times because of the wrong time zone, Tom, and maybe it got confused. So I will check the third one. There is a third event that's available, and that's on at I think 8:30 tonight Eastern time. So I know that is late for some, but please, if you want to, please attend that. We will be uploading one of the videos. It has no location listed. Okay, I'll make sure that those 2 things are dealt with.
Andrew, is there a way that we can share the recording with everyone?
Yes.
Probably,
we have.
You can change meetup, so probably you can post it in the chat box itself or in the comment section.
For the previous meeting?
Yes, that's right.
Okay, well, what we'll have to do is get you guys to chat about the bylaws while I pull up Meetup and find the recording.
And you might, Andrew, I think you have to edit some of that recording because all your personal information's on there. You can't just post that.
I think what we'll probably end up doing is we also need to edit the second one because it's got that Zoom number. So
the second one, we got some hackers, and so it threw everything off. But if you go to post as your personal information on there, you don't want to edit that. I wouldn't post that yet.
Yeah, I've got to do some editing, Vandana. I'll get it done as quickly as we can.
Sure, thank you.
And that'll go onto YouTube, so it'll be nice and accessible for everybody, and I'll announce it through the OLCD account. Thank you.
That'll be perfect. Thank you.
Coffee. So what I would suggest is that we have one more meeting, and of the bylaws committee. I believe we've got time. Yep, Jubin, please go ahead.
Hey, sorry, I couldn't get off mute fast enough. Andrew, I still. So the things that, like, for example, being on the floor, I didn't catch that, and I've read through this like a dozen times. Is that something we can be asking our lawyers to provide feedback on rather than delaying this further? Like,
yes.
I guess my question is, like, why not just take this as is and then communicate our intent with them and let them start with the feedback?
Yeah, we can certainly, like this quorum, for example, we definitely need their advice on how to fix this. It's not something that I feel comfortable editing. I just wanted to make sure that, like, for Jubin, you've been at both of the previous town halls. did any of the changes that I documented to the members surprise you?
None whatsoever. They
Okay.
were all in line with this.
Okay. Well, in that
The only thing that was of the town halls, the only thing that was surprising and good to know is that we can go to the previous board members for that option A potentially to get this passed.
that was in the legal advice that I shared on the internal board list.
Awesome. Yeah, sorry, I was behind on meetings, or emails, but yeah, that's great news.
Yep. And so are we actually, I think honestly, the board gets to set fees. This is actually something that could be voted today, which is that corporate membership is to be abolished and become corporate supporters, so that I can actually work with Tom on setting that up from an accounting point of view. We do need to communicate this change to the corporate members, but there's no lifetime corporate members. So this will be a transition over 12 months. I think that's the only one that we probably do need to say is going to change that would require a vote.
Andrew, do you expect any serious pushback on that from any corporate clients?
No, I think actually some of the corporates are actually surprised that they become members. It actually increases the legal risk to them. So just asking Microsoft to find one of their 120,000 staff to vote, yeah, it doesn't make sense.
I would expect that it's less the vote, but more membership, as opposed to a supporter. Sounds like a sponsor. Anybody throws money at them, versus.
Yeah, we're not planning on changing the packages overly much, but we will sweeten the deal a little bit. We definitely need to improve our customer experience. I want to meet at least quarterly with our diamond sponsors and once a year with our gold sponsors. So we actually do get their feedback on a regular basis. They don't have to do it if they don't want to do it, but I would like to make that a thing that we can do. We also need to establish a new set of corporate packages. Kelly's been working on some in the background. We really need to drive the benefits towards the gold and the platinum, because some of the benefits that we have in silver at the moment means that our margins are very, very low or negative. And so we need to put things into silver that can be self-service. So you can actually just go to your membership page, click on silver, and pay $5,000 by credit card, and you're done. And we're done. Whereas the higher ones we'll have to do via yeah. So Tom's just mentioned that as a corporate member, he's a gold corporate member, that he would agree with this. So we will communicate with the corporate members because it is a change, but I think, do you want to take a vote today on that? It's not in the agenda, or is it something that we could put an e-vote and have a discussion?
I think we can put it as an e-vote.
Yep. And
here, as a board, we're voting on this, but this vote is not actually binding in any way, because it's just a vote if this is what we're pitching to the membership, right?
yeah, so it's actually the absence of a membership class when this goes to a vote, whether it's the entire set of directors or it's the membership, that approves this absence. But what we need to do as a board, you guys need to say, yes, we're definitely going to accept the fact that there is going to be an absence of corporate membership. So we're deleting it. So that's the only change that I think is substantial. I'm just writing this down. E-vote on corporate membership. I'll kick that off with a email after this meeting. Okay, so did Jubin, who was sponsoring this motion?
I sponsored it.
Yep.
Martin seconded it.
Okay, did you want to put, like, your view is that we still do the motion. I'm very happy for you to do that. It is actually on the agenda. Did you want to actually go ahead and propose that and open up to discussion?
Yeah, I'd like to certainly have the discussion. So just a little bit of background. So Avi, myself, I think Glenn and Martin came to a few of them. We've looked at the bylaws. The last time I did it, I was in Hawaii and it was very dark while I was on the call. But the point is, we've looked through this and we've revised it to the best of our abilities as techie people, right? We're not lawyers, and that's what I think the original OWASP bylaws got us in trouble, is because they were tech people. They're security folks trying to write bylaws or review bylaws. So we've I think through the edits that Andrew has done mainly, and a few little ones that I've done, I think we're communicating our intent. And I think through all the discussion we've had with our lawyers regarding all the problems we've had, or even regarding just getting this one passed, I think we've communicated what our intent is. So originally, when this motion was put forth, was to just take the current draft and give them to the lawyers so that we can start getting some feedback from those lawyers. But Andrew brought up a good point. There's some sections that through further reading you kind of get second wind of it, and you kind of double check. So personally, I think we should still put this in front of our lawyers and get them to do the work for us of giving us feedback in the state that it is. And I'm sure there's we have to, there's cost considerations here because we're using more of our lawyers' times. So essentially the question is, given the draft, is the board comfortable putting that in front of the lawyers for feedback, potentially incurring some lawyer fees, additional lawyer fees, or do we want to read through it and provide further modifications? Martin, I don't know if you want to add anything else to that, and if not, I'll open up for discussion. Okay. Thoughts, King?
Maybe just open it up to discussion.
Yep. Opening up for everyone else.
So I'll start off by agreeing with you, Jim, and I think that we probably edited it about as well as we can. We now need to get the lawyers to just say this fits within the legal framework, and we need to get whichever group is going to be voting to make a determination about whether this is the bylaws for the foundation moving forward.
Yeah.
Yep.
Should we have Andrew finish his changes? I mean, he said he had a few things that he wanted to still fix.
Well, what I'll do is I'll carefully review each page for the thing that I found. It uses very similar terminology throughout, but there's a couple of things where we need the intent of the policies to be mentioned, and I don't know how to refer to that correctly in the bylaws, or even if it's permitted to refer to them in the bylaws. So I think I've got to the end of what I could possibly add, but I will highlight to the lawyers all the places where the voting mechanism is incorrect. So if it's the nomination process, qualifications, or the voting process is from the floor, we need to get rid of that, and we need to put in our settings, and I think the lawyers should put that in. I'll highlight them. That's all that needs to be changed at the moment.
Okay, and then I'm ready to vote.
Okay, any other discussion items?
I think no.
Right.
Nothing from my side.
I think Baidena, you have to call the vote, or does the sponsor call the vote? I forget.
Yeah, actually I calls for vote, but before that I just saw that Tom has posted something. It really comes down to membership class and vote. If 2,500 individual members vote, 51% of X for X and 51% of corporate member vote for Y, then is there a stalemate, or are you an individual member organization? Hope this helps.
We are an individual member organisation, and in fact, realistically, we shouldn't have had corporate members. Corporate members usually get board seats, and that's not the OWASP way.
And technically, as it stands today, corporate members each get a single vote against the 5,000 individual members' votes, right? So the whatever it is, 50 corporate members have 50 votes total against the 5,000 individual members.
Yeah, probably we can make that explicitly clear about that.
Yeah. We'll do that in the discussion on the e-vote.
Sure.
I think we're probably able to even do that vote now.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So probably we can get started if anyone has, if anyone does not have any questions. It has been sponsored by Jubin and seconded by Martin. So probably we can start with the vote if everyone is okay, or you're looking for e-vote.
Let's just do the vote.
Okay, perfect.
So just to
go
be
ahead,
clear,
Grant.
we're voting on progressing the bylaws to legal review, right?
Yes. That
Yes.
motion you see in front of you.
Okay.
Yes, that's right. So we are progressing ahead with the legal review for the bylaws that we have discussed. And I will start off with the call that I see it on my screen. Avi?
Yes.
Bill, do you want to say something?
Yeah. I was just going to ask if you needed to actually read the motion.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's formal or not.
Yeah, I think we read it, but I'll read it again. So the board met a few times for the bylaws review. And now, as everyone agreed, we would be going ahead with the legal reviews. For that, we would be taking a motion. And a motion has been sponsored by Jubin Jabari and seconded by Martin Noblich. So we'll start off with the vote motion. So I'll start off with the names that I see it on my screen. Avi?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
Grant?
Yes.
Martin?
Yes.
Glenn?
Yes.
Jubin?
Yes.
And a yes from my side. And apologies that I had to take vote from Avi again, because I had to read that again.
That's fine. It was the same vote.
Yeah.
But yes,
He didn't change his mind.
So in chat, I have actually put a motion, friendly amendments welcome. Is that what you were intending?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
my
So,
understanding is different. I'm sorry.
okay.
My understanding is that they're going to stay corporate members until their current year expires. And then when
I-
they renew, they will
Oh, good point.
renew it to something else. Am I wrong about
Yeah.
that?
No, you're
100%
right.
Avi.
Yep. So resolved, corporate membership shall be abolished in the new bylaws with a transition period to until the end of all.
The existing membership terms.
Yep. Okay, so is that what you meant, Avi? So Tom, I think unless we're prepared to do a like some sort of variation or a contract amendment, I think we should just simply keep them as is, but when we renew them, they will become corporate sponsors or corporate supporters. I think that's the way we probably want to do it, because getting signatures out of these
I would
people.
agree. Yeah, Andrew, I would agree. I was just asking that, that we don't lose that revenue opportunity. But I agree with you that corporate members shouldn't have a vote. I'm not familiar with, unless they don't have any individual members. As Tom mentioned, Safeco, which is a longstanding client of ours. But, having been with the Apache Software Foundation forever, the corporate sponsors have no vote.
Yep.
So yeah, I think that's the easiest, is we just keep them through their term and renew them as corporate sponsors.
Yes.
And then come up with the benefits value proposition for that at the same time.
Yes, and that's with Kelly at the moment. So it's on my one agenda items for tomorrow.
No, it's okay. And she and I talked about it yesterday.
Cool. So, Avi, are you okay with this?
Well, just given
Yes.
given the proposal there, wouldn't it be better to say resolve corporate membership shall be transitioned to corporate sponsorship without membership rights? The new bylaws at the end of the existing membership terms.
Okay, let me just put that in. Shall be transitioned to corporate sponsorship over the residual terms of each corporate member. Under the new bylaws, corporate membership will be removed. What about that one?
Yep.
Okay, does that deal with the same problem that you had before, Avi?
Yeah, I mean,
Avi is thinking.
I don't object to it. It just feels messier.
Yeah, the more words we put in, the more leeway is. I was just simply looking for, can we delete a paragraph in the new bylaws? But the reality is there are some operational items that need to happen here as well. But I really would like the board to possibly just let us handle the operational items as much as we possibly can.
Any words do you want to add, Avi?
I'm fine either way. Either of those languages I'm fine with.
Grant has returned.
Yeah.
Moving to mobile.
Grant, do you want to say something to it?
No, just that I'm moving to my mobile at this point.
Okay, sure.
Okay, so who's going to sponsor and who's going to second this motion?
I can sponsor it.
Second.
Okay.
And hope everyone is okay with that. Or do you have any questions? I think we don't have any objections on that. So let's go ahead and vote for it.
Sorry,
Yep.
just to be clear, it is the second language, the last one in the chat box.
Yes, the last one.
So do you want to read that out, Van Better?
Yes. So we are resolving the motion with corporate membership shall be transitioned to corporate sponsorship over the residual period terms or over the residual terms of each corporate member. So under the new bylaws, corporate membership will be removed. Hope everyone agrees with that. Or if you have any questions, please let us know. No objections.
Okay.
Let's start with the vote. Avi,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Jubin,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Lynn,
Yes.
Grant,
Yes.
and it's a yes from my side.
Okay. I'll reach out to Tom to start getting the financial side of it sorted, and I'll work with Kelly to communicate this change to the corporate members.
Sure, Andrew.
Okay, thank you.
Let's move on. Okay, so the next one is about John Delano has expressed the interest.
Oh, sorry.
It's okay. So he showed an interest in turning New Zealand non-profit AppSec New Zealand to OWASP New Zealand. And right now, there's pending governance and bylaws changes, and Andrew has recommended certain steps. Andrew, do you want to talk about those 4 steps that we want to take?
So John's very keen to call his non-profit AppSec New Zealand. He wants to call it OWASP New Zealand, and if we go down the federated path for OWASP China, there is a certain amount of work that we need to do. Martin was working on getting us an interview or a meeting with Amnesty International from Germany. I do believe that we do need to do our homework before we go down this pathway and maybe agree that OWASP New Zealand can exist. My concerns with existing entities, which might be the simplest possible mechanism, because there's one in Australia as well, a similar sort of situation, is that they need to adhere to our core values. They need to adhere to our governance and transparency. They need to adhere to our code of conduct. So there is some steps that all of these entities will have to take. And then what is the level of control that we have over them? Whereas like AppSec EU, OWASP EU will have 100% control. Whereas OWASP China, it's essentially an agreement. And we need to understand the funding model. To a certain degree, I like John's enthusiasm for the change, but it may be putting the cart before the horse. And I'd like to probably have the board discuss whether or not they want to go ahead and continue working on the federated model, particularly in relation to OWASP China, before we go down the path of allowing other entities to rename themselves OWASP country name. As a discussion, where do people want to land? I know that, Martin, you had some action items. I mean, what is the board's feeling about federated OWASP entities?
If I may, so it has advantages and disadvantages, but definitely what you need is to understand the ball game. And we had it in the past. So we already had some, and Tom is still there. I recall that in 2012 in Dublin, something like that. We started with something like that with AppSec. Actually, Europe was founded for solving certain problems because we had people already creating kind of legal entities to just be able to deal with money or deal with the local chapters, because being American is not always helping. Some companies want to donate only to local organizations and other things for grants. So we had various entities already popping up. And now with the geopolitics, with China, with New Zealand, we have to think if there's more. So Amnesty actually, what they have is they have country entities. They are all linked to the global foundation. As I said, a friend of mine, he is for many years treasurer of the OWASP for the Amnesty in Germany, and he's willing to help us and explain how they solve the problem. Of course, you have a problem for the sanctioned countries because Amnesty has the same problems, right? They are registered somewhere, and if there are sanctions, you're not always allowed to work within some countries. The other question is, of course, there is also a way around, and we do software security, right? We are not building a rocket. So there are goods in this because but there are also bads, and the bads are the overhead. Our chapters now have very little administrative overhead. If everybody's enthusiastic and starts creating let's go, I don't know, OWASP Netherlands entity. It's the first one who runs it, and then what we do for the following up. So we have a lot of things to discuss. What happens if? It's like in the marriage, right? You decide when you get married, you define a contract. What happens if you divorce? We have to prepare for the bad times. That's also something we have to think about.
Yeah.
So it's a complex change, but I think it's beneficial, but also scary.
And also, to a certain degree, we need to contemplate that some chapters like New Zealand don't want to run their own membership program and don't want to run other parts of the system like Gmail, whereas OWASP China will have to. So the model needs to be a bit flexible for the different ways that it might work. Not to the infinite degree that we have exceptions left, right, and centre, but maybe we have a few straw models ready to go. But also I'd recommend that the board is the only one to approve new entities so that we don't have to accept, like in the Netherlands case, we don't have to accept the new entity being created. Avi?
Is there going to be specific criteria around that
Well,
for the board to decide, or is that going to be?
I think there's... No, I think honestly the board needs to make this decision. In the new bylaws, only the board can make this decision, so you don't need to actually have a great deal of administrative overhead. What you do need to do is make a good decision, an informed decision. So maybe we do have criteria, but at this very moment, the entire planning is right in front of you, and it's a 8-line email. So what I would suggest is there's a lot of fleshing out that needs to happen, and I think we should probably meet with Amnesty before we even go down the pathway of thinking about our model.
Maybe we should ask more than one organization, but let's start with Amnesty.
Yeah. I've got some contacts in Rotary. I think Rotary International has been doing this for 110 years. I think they would be a good case study for possibly a over-the-top solution, but they have sorted this out in many, many countries. They're in over 180 countries.
Tom Brennan just put something very interesting in the chat. I don't know, is Rotary also a 501 type 3?
Okay, that's actually a really good point, Tom. I'm glad you turned up to this meeting. Goodness. Oh, not that. I'm going to copy it and put it into a text file. I'll look at it very carefully. Okay, thank you. That is actually very, very good.
Tom, thanks for doing it. Andrew, this is where I was going with our conversation yesterday.
Okay, cool.
501c3
Yeah.
regs.
So how does that work with our EU entity, or is that something we should probably discuss in minute detail at another time?
I think we should talk about it in detail. I mean, we passed the audits. It's inside of our 990s, but I think we should. They look at it like a disregarded entity, and we're reforming that anyways to take care of those issues. But the puppet organization. There you go, Tom.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I'll definitely look at that. That seems like something we need to be on top of if we're going down this pathway. We do need to come up with a solution for China. If that's a unique solution for China and China alone, then that's what we need to do. Are there any other discussion items on this? So I think the action item is for Martin to organise a meeting. So Martin, I think that's going to be in the context of a special meeting. So did you want me or Dawn to organise that meeting?
No, that would make sense. I do that.
Okay, you'll do it. Is that what I'm hearing? Yeah. Okay, no worries. I'm away for the next 2 weeks, so if you want me there, please make it after July 18. If you don't want me there, then you can do it as soon as you want. Actually, no, that's not true. You must give 7 days written notice.
Yes. He's based in South Germany. But the holiday dates are late, but he has some kids, so I will let you know. So it will be somewhere. I can't do it in July, so it will be somewhere in August. I'll try to do it early August, but I will put some dates available. Yeah.
That sounds good. Yep, this is not exactly the most urgent of business, and I think we need to be very cautious. I think your cons are, the things that are problematic are very valid. Okay, with that, Vandana.
Thank you so much, Andrew. Can you please go back to the screen?
Yep.
Thank you. Thanks, Martin. And we will look for the meeting from you around the discussion. Okay, so we are almost at the adjournment. But before that, if anyone has any questions, any discussions? All right then. So I'm sponsoring the motion. Who is going to second it? To adjourn the meeting.
I'll second it.
Thanks, Avi.
Thank you.
Thank you. So everyone, thank you so much for joining the meeting today. And the next general board meeting is on 26th of July, 2022 at 12 p.m. US Eastern Time. So we'll all see you there. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Vandana, can you stay on a minute?
Absolutely. I'll be here. Yeah.
Thank you.
No
Thanks,
worries.
everybody.